afternoon, everyone. It's Monday, September 12th, 2022. It's 4 o'clock. We're in the Carson City Community Center, Robert Bob Kroll Boardroom for the Carson City Culture and Tourism Authority Board of Directors meeting. Can I get a roll call, Linda?
Yes, Mike Jones,
Here.
Bobby Rader, Stacy Giomi, Steve Reynolds and Steve Kim are absent. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Can I ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll ask, I don't see any public. We will ask for public comment. Hearing none, we'll move on to item 5, approval of the minutes for the July 11th, 2022 board meeting. Is there any board member have any changes or corrections to the minutes?
I'll move to approve as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
Chair, could I just clarify something, that this should be for the August 8th board meeting
Oh,
minutes?
I mean August.
Yeah, if you could just maybe restate. Am I looking at the wrong one, Chris?
Yeah, it says, if we can make that change, it says approval of minutes July 11th. It was really August 11th.
Oh, Chair, you're actually looking at the minutes themselves? So, yeah,
It was the August.
it was August 8th, yeah.
All right, sorry, false alarm.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the consent agenda. At this time, I'll ask if any board member would like anything pulled for individual discussion from the consent agenda. If not, I will ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. That moves us on to item 11, the monthly non-action items for presentation and discussion only. David?
Thank you, Chair. For the record, David Peterson, Executive Director with Visit Carson City. I have 4 short items on my Executive Director report for the month. I just want to say thank you to Member Rader for hosting the Travel Nevada RSCVA Valaris FAM group on Saturday. We had 10 tour operators from Guadalajara, plus staff from Valaris Airlines and 1 GMS group on a wonderful tour of the Stewart Indian School property. Dale Bennett was awesome with her lunch, authentic Indian tacos and dessert that she prepared for us. And she had to fill in at the last minute to do a demonstration beading and looming, which was really, really wonderful. And then prior to Stewart, the group actually toured the Brewery Arts Center, and they experienced the Part of the Machine Rock and Pinball exhibit. So I want to thank Mikey and Gina for making that happen as well. They really enjoyed the rock and roll stuff that was going on over there and playing the pinball machine. So it's really wonderful to have great tourism partners. And that's what allows us to be included in these FAMs that the state does and RSCVA and LVCVA are a part of. So we would not be able to do a FAM like this by ourselves. It would be cost prohibitive to bring all these folks up, so out of country. So thank you, Bobby, again. Moving on, I'm just going to give you a quick nugget of information from the Destination Analyst September 2022 State of the American Traveler Survey, and I'll read this verbatim. Despite the challenges facing travel, nearly 2/3 of American travelers still expect to take at least one overnight leisure trip in the next 3 months. Currently, 29% of American travelers say they have a leisure trip planned in September, and 30% have a leisure trip planned in October, and that's on the rise since the last State of the American Traveler Survey was done in August. Looking further ahead, there's a growing number of Americans who say they're open to travel inspiration. That's a 68% number, and are increasingly excited about their travel in the future at 80%. And this is in spite of everything that has been going on out there with all the airline-related kind of fiascos and issues and short staffing that's taking place throughout the tourism industry. So I thought that was something. Thank you, Lydia, for suggesting we include that today. And then moving on to economic impact. So we got a sneak peek from Kyle Schulz, who is the research manager for Travel Nevada, at the 2021 economic impact numbers. And I'm happy to say, preliminarily, the main takeaway was Carson City had higher levels of direct and total spending in 2021 than in 2019. And I think it's important because the state as a whole has yet to come back to the 2019 numbers for the state. And I'll just share a couple of those numbers real quick with you guys. So on the direct visitor spending, we were at 210.6 million for 2021. That was up from 206.4 million back in 2019. And obviously 2020, the numbers were in the toilet, so to speak. And then on the total visitor spending side, this was just a very small increase, 353.4 million as opposed to 353.2 million back in 2019. So just a small increase on the total side of things. And then I do believe, which we'll confirm when we get visitor profile information from Travel Nevada, that our per person spending was also higher in 2021. So I think that's a good thing, right, relative to per visitor spending in 2019. Employment levels, they're still not back to where they were in 2019, but that's an industry-wide problem. It's really a national, arguably a global problem. So I think it's probably going to take us another year or two to get back to 2019 share. Taxes were up significantly for Carson City as well, and the tax number on direct, 23 million 2021 versus 19.4 million in 2019. And then looking at total taxes for 2021, 32.8 million as compared to 27.1 million in 2019. So really good information and numbers there on the tax side. So I think it's a good story for us for 2021, all things considered on that front. So any questions on the impact numbers?
Yeah, just, so the 32.8, 27.1 is gross room tax revenue? What is that number exactly?
So the 32.8 million is actually total state and local tax collected in consolidated municipality of Carson City. So that would be sales tax,
Oh,
gaming
gotcha.
tax.
Okay,
It's
okay. So
all,
that's
yeah.
CTX, yeah, but so it's
Yes.
it's not even room tax.
It's not room tax. That's
Not room,
all.
that's CTX.
Yeah.
Okay.
All taxes.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
and to put that into perspective, just a little tidbit like I used to do at the state, but that 32.8 million would basically cover the starting salaries of 583 teachers. So
Right.
if just kind of put that in context. So
Okay, thank you.
yeah, and one thing I'll just, if I can, just mention on the job side of things. Yes, jobs were down, but as a share of the total jobs in Carson City, tourism represents 9.5% of the employment here. So that is the 2021 number there. So,
How has that changed? Do you have a 2019 number?
I do not, but I will follow up with you.
Yeah, it would be
all
interesting to know
afterwards.
if that is down or up.
I'll follow up for
How do
2019.
is that that's restaurants, hospitality?
Yeah, so they use tourism economics. So when they build the model, it's going to be based on the NICS codes, and so that takes into consideration hospitality and tourism. You've got certain shares of other industries as well that support tourism. So you'll have direct, and then you'll have secondary, as a part of that total. But I will definitely send an email to the board. I'll follow up with what those percentages looked like for 19 relative to that 9.5%. Any more questions, sorry, on the impacts? Okay. The last thing I was just going to mention, second cycle for Travel Nevada marketing grants for fiscal 23 is expected to open this week. And then there's a new development as well with Travel Nevada. They are launching a brand-new destination development program, a grant program. It's a 3D is what they call it for short. And we may have an opportunity to potentially partner with Virginia City and Carson Valley, our peers, the other DMOs, to get a regional type project underway. They are going to select 6 projects that will start rolling out, 3 in January and then 3 in September. But the cool thing is there's $2 million on the line for those projects down the road. And I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, we were all at the training on Friday, but I think it's an EDA-driven program. And it's pretty cool. Take 6 projects and break a couple $1 million up. We've really got, I think, a unique opportunity. So we're kicking around some ideas internally, but obviously we need to talk with our peers as well to see if we can get them to come on board, because it's a weighted criteria. So if you have more of your partners, your criteria in terms of the weighting benefits those type of projects. So we're looking at some things related to arts and culture, outdoor recreation, connectivity, trails, and how do we kind of connect ourselves together a little bit better as a multi-destination area, which is really what we are for the visitors. So that is my update for this month. If there are any questions, okay, I will go ahead and move on to 11B, transient occupancy tax, actual versus forecast. That's the big sheet in your packet. And we still don't have everything in for July, but you can kind of see where we're forecasting to come in, 3.6 million. So down about a little over 4% as compared to July of last year. But I'll just remind the board that last July was the single highest month we've ever had. So, I know we were hoping to meet that number for this summer, but that's roughly where we're sitting at right now. And until I kind of get a couple more months, Chris and I are going to see how things go for August and September before we start to maybe make some adjustments to see if things are really truly softening up for this first quarter before we make any kind of full adjustments for the rest of the fiscal year. But that's where we're sitting right now. 26.249 is our projection against the budget of 26.4 flat. So down, we're making about 4.57% for the whole fiscal as compared to the budget. If you go all the way to the right and you look at that last column. So any questions from the board on those numbers? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to 11C, events and sales update. Stu Wexler, take it away, sir.
Good afternoon. So we're going to start with, oops, losing the skirt. Okay, just here's the outline of what we're going to start with. So Labor Day weekend, we actually had Battleborn Blades again. We had this last May, a tournament. This is actually, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a, since you have language, Frofect?
Profit? Yes,
Profrect.
I think so, maybe.
So that is an all-women's tournament. Last May we had where it was co-ed. We had boys and girls. This was an all-women's tournament that was held over here at the gym. I didn't get a chance to go. David did.
It was pretty cool. I mean, I was there. It was very exciting because Stu and I, when we went to the men's, women's combined, we were just seeing the sort of sparring or pre-tournament training. And in this case, I got to see the finals on Sunday on that weekend, and it was
Yeah, the last time they were just doing some classes. They had some teachers there that were doing last-minute pointers. They happened to get a little bit late start in getting it out this year for Labor Day. We're going to work at it next year because they want to come back again in next May and Labor Day. And we feel that if we just get a jump on this, and as well as them, we can have a big draw. The women's tournament actually is bigger than what David and I went to. And I do have a quick video if this will work. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but it gives you an idea of actually what's involved and how seriously they take this. It's pretty fascinating. So give me 1 second. Just go speed it up.
I will just say, while Stu gets back to the presentation, it was very different watching the ladies-only event. It was much more technical as far as how they were engaging with one another. That this almost seemed a little bit more violent, right, as far as blasting the swords out of each other's hands. So it's very different, kind of more, I guess, technical, as far as how they fought one another. So
And the coordinator said that this has become more international. So as we go farther along, we could see the next year when we do these events, we could have more of an international draw. This was a national one we had right here. So it becomes it's very popular, obviously, so we would look to have a international draw for next year.
That's why they need to get it out in front of it sooner for the
Yeah,
international.
we gave him the information. They were having a little bit of a hard time getting everything prepared and ready, so. But as we go along, we'll work with them to make sure that we can go along and get everything ready ahead of time. Because I think if we do, the footprint and the exposure would be a lot greater than what we saw here over Labor Day. And then, excuse me, and then just over the weekend, we also had the motorcycle challenge. We've had it before over the last couple of years. Obviously, with COVID, we didn't have it. And we had Officer Matt Smith. This was his first stint as taking care, arranging everything, coordinating everything. And we spoke to him after the event, after we were with the FAM tour. And they actually he was surprised, he had a couple units from the Clark County area, also had some from California. So as we look forward to them going next year, we could even have a bigger footprint as well. What he'd like to see is the whole state, the rural areas, going east, Elko, the Tonopahs area, and then obviously more from Clark County and from California. It's becoming very popular. And I think with COVID lessening, we're going to see more contestants come up for that as well. So, yeah, he was very happy. He was just ending it as we got there, and he said it was about, I think he told me about 30 contestants. So he expects even a greater amount as we prepare for next year. Okay. And this weekend, before I started, I was told the board talked about diversity. We are having the Sasebration, which is going to be at Sassafras. It's going to kick off about 11 o'clock at the Brewery Arts Center. They're going to do a parade, and they're going to have vendors and everything from Sassafras, Shoe Tree area, and the Carson Hot Springs. It's an all-day event. We're going to have, a tent there or a table, and Lydia will be there. I'll probably come by and help her too. I've never attended it, so I honestly can't tell you too much about it, but that's why I do want to stop there and just get a feel for, what they do. They have raised, as you can see, a lot for some of the local charities from this, so we feel that is definitely something that going forward will even be more so. And then in October, we are going to have the Carson City's Sheriff's Officer K-9 Unit Challenge. They have had this in the past. I believe it's been quite a few years since they've had it, obviously with COVID. This one is just going to be a one-day event, but what is interesting is Officer Darren Riggin is going to be the one heading it up this year, and he's very excited. So he sees an expansion on this as well. We do have some of the outlined counties participating in this, but as the motorcycle challenge, he'd like to see it expand to some of the outer rural counties, Clark County going east, even Elko, and California areas. Northern California, obviously, is a big feeder city for what we do a lot here in, Nevada, Northern Nevada. It always has been, especially even for the properties. So definitely I'm going to go to this one, and I think this one's going to be very interesting, and hopefully next year, it's a one-day event, but next year we'd like to expand it to 2 or 3 days and bring in outside officer units as well. And this is something I am working on. when when I was younger growing up in Southern California, we used to do car rallies. It was the first Friday night of the month. And I've reached out to the California Rally Series director, and we have been talking, and there are different types of rallies that you can do. One is the time, speed, distance, and as you can see, what I did in highlight the driving at legal speeds. So this is one that the streets do not have to be closed, no permits involved. It's a time check, time and speed. Everyone has contestant numbers, they start at different times, and there's checkpoints. And we can map with some of the help from these directors, map streets and all around this area going out east and in our area in the mountains. And what you do, there's checkpoints, and when I did it when I was younger, they used to have people, standing at the checkpoints, and they would time you and check you in. Now everything's done with your phone. So you would take a picture and then send it to the administrator, and they can tell when you check in, what time, and this is all done within a legal speed limit. And what I found out, the director put me in contact with people here in Nevada. There's folks down in the, excuse me, Clark County. And actually Tonopah, which I was surprised, is a big area for these car rallies. So this could be a draw because people it's very popular. People come from all over the area to participate. And what they used to do is a Friday night. I would have it arranged so it's a Saturday morning. So obviously we're going to have a couple days, so they have to spend the night here in Carson, which is our goal. But this is something they're willing to help me with. There's even a club up in Reno area that puts on these rallies. Then as you go along, there's different kinds of rallies where you close off parking lots, they do exhibits. But I think for our area, I think the time, speed, distance, where you're driving legally, legal speed limits, time checks, and then you meet at, a certain area, a restaurant when you finish. And I think this is something that could attract, especially our roads up here. Our hills and the roads we have out east and just all over. I think we could really map out a great rally. So that's something I'm going to be working on. We can arrange that for any time of the year. Obviously, in our weather, with snow, it'd be a little bit harder, which they don't get in California. So that's something that I'm working on as well.
So these aren't just classic cars, they can be any car?
This can be any car. When I was younger, I think I even took my mom's car, which was a 1964 Ford Galaxy one time. And we used that because there is no speed, you just have to follow. You could see in your map to the right. These are directions. So you have a driver, you have a navigator. The navigator is telling you, you're not even looking. The navigator is just telling you where to go, when to go, what turn you have to do. So you have to trust this navigator that he's reading this and knows what he's doing. And then you just check in at different times. So it's, and now I think it's becoming popular again. They've done it. And for our area, I think this is something that could really be very well handed in, especially in Reno too. Like I said, there's clubs up in Reno and a club in Tonopah. So that's something we're going to work on as well. And then I have the NTA, which is in November. That's a National Tour Association. That's going to be held up in Reno. It'll be a 4-day event. Tour operators come from all over, and so I'll be staying up in that area. And I'll have more information about that at the next meeting. So if there's any questions anybody has?
Any questions for Stu?
Oh, I was thinking the car rally and our newest senior citizen member driving the speed limit. That sounds like a hoot.
Well, they do have rallies. And they do have rallies that where you don't have to drive the speed limit, but I thought we'd start with that.
There used to be, years ago, and I don't remember the name of it, but it was basically a navigational rally through the Nevada desert. If I recall correctly, started like in Tonopah and ended in Virginia City, and it was pretty much entirely off-road. And it was in four-wheel drive Jeeps, and it was basically a navigational exercise. It was timed.
Right,
And because you're on the dirt, there were no speed limits, but
right.
they had certain checkpoints, and you had to be at a certain checkpoint by a certain time. And I don't remember the name of that.
Yeah,
It's been many years.
Well, there's a national car rally, too, National Car Rally Club that was here before. I can't remember the name of that either, but they do have the Vegas to Reno
Right. I was gonna
off-road in August, and that still goes
Well,
on.
maybe that.
And
maybe
that
that's it.
that could
Maybe
be what
that's
you're
it.
thinking
maybe
of,
that's it.
yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
That's a big one. That's a pretty good
Yeah.
rally off-road race because you have all different classes, motorcycle or dirt bikes, excuse me, all the way up to those $250,000 machines, right?
Right.
That just fly at 150 miles.
And
an
that
hour through the
one,
desert.
that actually brings a lot of people into Reno State, or to Reno, to Carson. They stay the night. It's one night,
Yeah.
but it's become very popular. Now they're doing it again since COVID's over, so that could be
Yeah.
expanded too.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Stu. Are we moving to almost? Oh, yeah, I could tell stories. Well, actually, I could just throw a couple of things at you guys. For NTA, we will actually have a motor coach coming here with up to 50 of the 700 to 800 attendees, and we will have a FAM tour. Well, no, I can't say it's a FAM tour. It's actually pre-conference activity, and we're going to have them for the whole day in Carson City. So we're excited about that. We have a tentative schedule that we're working on for the Sunday again that precedes the conference, and hoping that Mary Bennett will be our step-on tour guide because NTA has changed, I think, up their rules where they actually want professional tour guides now, not just, the local DMO guy, showing up and talking through where we are now, where we're going on the tour bus. So this will be great exposure for us with these motor coach operators, and there'll be some receptives, I think, there as well.
And this one in Reno, wasn't that supposed to happen like pre-COVID or something?
2020.
2020,
yeah.
so it
we're
was
2 years
postponed,
behind.
obviously, yeah.
All of these shows, the schedule is, yes, kind of shifted back, and they're trying to do right by coming back to those locations that were supposed to host the conference in 2020. So, yeah, exciting opportunity again to get to partner with RSCVA in this case and Travel Nevada on that. So, good, fun stuff. And then, yeah, do you want to, we'll just go verbal, is that all right? Deborah, are you comfortable? Oh, okay, all right, okay, well, okay, then, okay, so with that, we'll move on to 11D, Arts and Culture Update. Deborah Soul.
Deborah Soul here. So, in the arts and culture world, over the past month, we've been.
You will. There you go.
Good. Okay. So over the past month, we have been making some progress with the Mark Twain mural project. The project panel has identified the preferred location for the first downtown historic mural series. And we're pursuing the okay from the State Historic Preservation Office to hopefully locate the mural on the south-facing wall of the Nevada State Museum on Robinson Street. The second location that's being explored, if that fails to pan out, is the south-facing wall also on Robinson Street on the Northern Nevada Coin Building. So hopefully we will know the preference and whether or not the Nevada State Museum site will be approved within the next month. That's what we're anticipating.
Can I just interject, Deborah? I'm trying to get, obviously this is subject to board approval, but some redevelopment funds to get a Mark Twain statue on a bench. I think you've seen them. They're fairly prominent. But I think it's a perfect tie-in to this, and we would try and put it wherever that's why the museum is ideal, because it really doesn't make sense to put a bench on the coin building, but that's a great spot for a bench. And it would take some work, but, we could cut in a little bench and then you could sit and have a picture taken with Mark Twain and with a mural behind it. So we're working on doing that, and our redevelopment stuff will be, when we come around in January, February timeframe, but that's what I'm going to be pushing for.
That is exactly why these two locations have been selected, so that it would be possible to position the bench in front of them. Some of the other locations that were looked at and considered, you wouldn't be able to do that. So these are the two top locations, and we'll see which one is the successful. In terms of Mark Twain Days, our first annual festival, the planning for that is progressing. Tiffany East Public Relations has been contracted to assist in the event planning for the festival. We've got marketing material that's been developed. We've got a save the date card that's now being printed so that we will be able to let people know in advance. And this is just an image of both sides of that save the date card, so that people will have some idea of what is going to be happening in Carson City for the festival in April. We've also created a landing page on the Visit Carson City website, and we're developing branding for the festival. And we've purchased the marktwaindays.com domain. So things are starting to move ahead. A Facebook page has also been created and is actively engaging local residents who would like to be involved in the festival. So far, specifically in terms of costumed volunteers and ambassadors who would be in costume on the street. So it's been really encouraging, the amount of interest that there is from the community in being involved in that so far. And one of the options that was brought to my attention recently for future public art in Carson City was a series of realistic horses that were being created for this year's Burning Man event. Sculptures that are intended to be sold afterwards. So 4 volunteers from Carson City were invited to attend Burning Man for a day to view these artworks and have a tour of all of the other 400 artworks that were created for this year, which was actually quite amazing. These are photos of some of the wild horses from the series that we were curious about. Actually, I think that we should be working more closely with the curators of Burning Man's artwork. I think that's one of the main reasons that Reno has become such an art mecca so quickly. They work very closely with the Burning Man staff and their artists, and each year they provide a platform for temporary public art that comes from the event until it's sold, or until the city or someone in the community might purchase it themselves. Many people think that Burning Man only produces unusual art. Well, that's actually not the case. It's not the truth. Of course, there are many examples of wild and crazy art, if you're looking for it. That's what the artists are encouraged to create for Burning Man. But there are also many beautiful pieces that would be great public art prospects for any city. And by working with the Burning Man staff, I think it will provide an opportunity to discover artists who have created work even if it's not the specific piece that you're looking to purchase, but created work that you really like and would be suitable for public art installation in your community, who could be commissioned to create other pieces to suit what it is that the municipality is after. So I think that holds tremendous potential
Yeah.
in the future.
Deborah, and you mentioned that these would be, or would they be leased while they're waiting to be sold, or are they donated?
They're held. There's certain properties in Reno where works are brought and just held for a period of about 2 months, 3 months. And during that time, there are managers actively taking inquiries and responding to people who are interested in purchasing.
Okay.
So is it possible to maybe identify a site where we could, is that kind of what you're suggesting? Maybe we identify a site in the community that could be a holding spot for approved, because I know our town can be a little conservative at times, approved art that would be on display and available for eventual sale.
That's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a great opportunity and
Mhm.
a way for us to get art for free, basically, and display it for a period of time while it's being potentially curated, or sold.
And it's interesting because there are people who are strongly encouraging more temporary art so that there can be this turnover of pieces,
Right.
since so much artwork is created every year.
Right.
And that's another opportunity I think that is worth considering.
Well, and we have a couple examples already. The room we're in is essentially a gallery that turns over every quarter. And the courthouse is another one that turns over every quarter that the Carson City Arts Alliance curates for us. And I do a fair amount of work in Elko, and I know that years ago they did a campaign where businesses were encouraged to purchase a boot. I don't know if you're familiar with that prospect. So businesses were encouraged to purchase a boot. They could decorate the boot however they wanted to, obviously within reason. And it reminds me of a similar thing that I happened to witness, I don't know, probably 10 or 15 years ago. I happened to be in the south of France, and the town of Nice was doing it as well with cows. And I don't recall the tie-in to cows in the town of Nice. I didn't get the history, but they basically, they had cows all over the community, and they were decorated in various ways. And it was a project that was designed to last for a finite period of time, 3 to 5 years, something like that. So, yeah, anyway, cool. Thank you.
Interestingly, on that vein, one of the things that we're planning for the Mark Twain Days Festival is something similar, where we're looking to have rocking chairs, Mark Twain style rocking chairs created that could be decorated by artists and positioned around the city, especially during festival time. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Deborah. Yeah, and Stacy, that project in Elko was actually pretty cool because Elko CVA was involved with that, right? And the idea was to move visitors around to those different locations that had a boot, and then you could learn about it, have a bite to eat, hotel, whatever, go to one of the museums out there. So,
Well, and you can even, you could even tie something into it, and perhaps if they come into the office with, 5 boot pictures, they get a free hat, or whatever the case may be, something to move them around the community,
that I like that.
I seem to remember they did something in Tahoe similar to that
Yeah.
a few years ago with, you mentioned cows, and I think it was cows, different businesses.
I was in Kansas City too.
Okay, well, there you go.
Add that project to your list, Deborah. Yes. Woo! Love it. Thank you, Deborah. Oh, dear. Yes, dear. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions for Deborah before we move on? Okay. Thank you. We'll go ahead and move on to 11E, Marketing and Public Relations Update. Lydia Beck, take it away.
And Lydia Beck for the record, thank you. I figured out the slideshow, so this is very exciting. All right. I have a long presentation for you guys, but hopefully I am well prepared to be able to fly through this for you. So please feel free to stop me at any time if you have any questions, because this is a mountain of information. I haven't seen you in a couple months. So we will get started with our marketing campaign. So last I spoke to you, kind of showed some of the content that we had for the marketing campaign. So we have one. Now what happens? So I wanted to lay out for you all of our advertising channels to show everywhere that our campaign is and will be. So digital advertising, as you can see, will always be the bulk of our advertising, just given the nature of the times and the internet. So you can see that we'll go through Google Ads using search, retargeting, display, and YouTube advertising. We have paid social media. We also have OTA co-ops like Expedia and Hotel Beds, and then also streaming TV. Print advertising, we just put up our billboard in Tonopah and switched out the creative after a solid at least year and a half. We wanted to get through COVID and make sure that, bear with me, please. I have a faulty battery on my laptop and it has died. So I apologize, but if you want to continue to look through that, I can talk through what's going on. Yep. All right. We're testing how good I am under pressure today. All right. And then if you want to look at the strategic PR work side, part of that slide, if you have that in front of you, we're going to continue to work with our influencers, our media journalists, and continue our FAMs, our activations, which I'm very excited to tell you about later on, and then also our local blogger and content work that we'll be doing. On the next slide, you can see some of the photography work from the campaign shoot that was pulled from all of our commercial shoots as well. And on slide number 3, we have our digital marketing update. So I wanted to give you a snapshot of what digital campaigns we have running through Google Ads. And in order to keep up in a cookieless world, Google actually launched a Performance Max campaign. And so what that is they've created what is to believe to be a better alternative to cookies, and it's actually delivering higher conversion rates than cookies ever were. All right, 1 second here.
Yeah, Lydia, I was going to say just take it. There you go. Perfect.
Okay, we're back on track. Thank you for your patience. My apologies. So as the Performance Max campaigns continue to, it was just launched, and so we're really in the testing mode here, but the conversion rates for what we're getting for conversions to our hotels landing pages, our visitor guides, downloads, and even just our click-through rates are significantly higher than our regular search campaigns. So we're gonna continue to test this out, see if we are going to be distributing more of our budget towards Performance Max really over the next couple of months. So overall, our search, our display, it's all performing really well. We continue to use display for retargeting, and overall, our Google Ads continue to be a really strong source of website traffic for us and overall awareness of our hotels in town as well. So for our website content performance, we got to chat a little bit about this. Obviously, this is for July and August. Of course, in July, the 4th of July fireworks page in events is always going to be the highest for almost all DMOs from what I've learned in the past conferences that I've been to. One thing that I saw really interesting on our top 10 that you can see here is the Outlaw Flat Track Race came in at number 9. And so I think that really shows us that this isn't just the families coming along with the riders. We're really finding that it's a spectator sport for locals kind of all around the area. It's definitely a niche sport that many people are connected to, especially with our Pine Nut Mountains and all of the dirt bike riding that's out there. People connect with that sport. And so I thought that was really interesting. Another interesting fact was also where most of our traffic was coming from. So this was the first 2 months that Los Angeles came up as our #1 search city. So any other time before that, I looked in the previous year in July and August, and it was Sacramento, San Francisco. But this was the first time that LA had ever come up. And so California was our #1 state for traffic, and then Nevada, and then surprisingly Washington, and then Oregon. So obviously those Washington and Oregon are pretty significantly lower than California and Nevada, of course, as you can see. But seeing LA as our #1 was was promising, that we're expanding and we're reaching new markets and resonating with new audiences. So I think that's I'll take that as a win. For our social media update, over the last 2 months, we have had over 15 different social media campaigns. So obviously for a presentation like this, it's difficult for me to show you everything we're doing. So I wanted to lay out the kind of content that we're promoting. So we always do a newsletter sign up. I went to ESTO in early August, which is the educational seminar for tourism organizations, and got some great tips for getting more lead generation ads that may resonate better. And so we've actually switched from being kind of a general ad that might be promoting our commercial to this month I'm running a ad that says, sign up for our newsletter to find out the 5 top leaf peeping spots in Carson City. And obviously have our beautiful imagery that we've garnered over the last couple years. And we're definitely getting higher engagement rates already. So I'll be tailoring the newsletters that I send out based off of the content that we're doing on our paid social ads. We're also doing just general campaign promotion for pictures, also the video. We are doing blog promotions about the content that we're putting out monthly, rail bike promotions to help them and assist with some of the marketing. And that is some wildly engaging content. People love the rail bikes. We had tens of thousands of engagements off of our ad throughout the summer. And so it was exciting to see that that continues to be an interest in Carson City. We have new Banwango Pass that I will be telling you about later on. And then we also had an ad promoting the new audio tour launch. And so we did something a little bit different to really test it out to make people that live here more aware of it to start. And so if you were traveling in the area, we delivered that ad only to the people that were already in Carson City. So just helping to garner awareness about it first before we use it as more of a traffic driver. And so obviously for that, we saw some success. We had about 777 landing page views since launch at the end of June. And I looked in 400 of those were unique users. So people are coming back and actually using it more than once. Okay, any questions before I go into the PR report?
On one of your previous slides that I'm just interested, it said airport advertising coming soon.
Thank you,
An
Mike.
update?
In my fluster, I did forget to mention the airport advertising. I appreciate you following up on that. Yes, airport advertising is coming soon. So that will be part of our print advertising campaign. We will have some that will be adjacent to the Stewart exhibit that Deborah will be putting together in November. And then we'll also be doing some by the baggage claim as well. And so we're still waiting for quotes on that. So we don't have specifics of exactly what we can afford quite yet, but we have a budget and an idea of what we're going to do. But that will also be coming soon. We hope to help promote some of the events coming up in addition to the Stewart as well. Thank you.
Lydia, could I just add?
Please.
We also upstairs with the 6 different digital TV screens, right? That yes, that's going to tie in with Stewart, but it's also going to be a great opportunity for us to promote the Mark Twain Days Festival as well, just with the timing of everything, right? Because the Stewart exhibit is November, December, January, right? So we'll have the TVs upstairs and then the above the luggage carousel with the digital ads. So hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes live for November 1st is the plan.
Are we going to be able to run that into the first of the year?
Yes, that's what we're moving some
Yeah.
dollars around in the media plan, but that is the plan. So we'll upstairs from the arts and culture side of things with Deborah's budget, we'll run November 1st through the end of April. So we'll actually be able to go all the way through the Mark Twain Days. Our hope is, and if I'm wrong, Lydia, November through February or March with downstairs above the baggage carousel. is what
I think
we're hoping.
I think that's helpful with
Yeah.
the legislative session,
Absolutely.
and just
Yeah.
reminding people to, they'll be here in the city already, so.
Yeah, but to get out and about, right? Here's
Correct.
some cool
Yeah,
activities that
exactly.
you can do. Sorry, Lydia, go ahead.
Thank you.
No, absolutely. I also wanted to follow up on a comment that you had made about the mayor's video from Reno. Okay, good. Thank you. All right. All right. Then if there's nothing else, I'll move on to the July PR report. So I wanted to break these up separately because we had a lot of PR that happened in July and August. So I'll let you read through the numbers yourself, but you can see that we have our new fiscal year numbers on here and our goals. So we have a new fiscal year goal of $500,000. So we're up a couple $100,000 from last year for that goal to help. We definitely blew last year's goal out of the water. So we wanted to kind of extend and hit something that we feel like was realistic and achievable, but also still something to shoot for. Our regional and national story goal this year is 36 stories. And already some of our PR leads from Travel Nevada and the ones that we're doing in-house with Nicole and KPS3 are paying off. As you can see that our publicity value is already quite high here, kicking off in the first couple of months. So some major stories that came out of this month was cycling in the Silver State. That was someone who we hosted from Travel Nevada back in March. So you can see with traditional media, obviously those lead times are much longer. We also put out on the wire internally all about the High Sierra pack goats. So that really unique attraction to Carson City is something that we wanted to put out there because I really think it identifies us. She's still garnering a lot of people finding her from people who are coming to visit Tahoe and finding her on Airbnb experiences. So we wanted to see if that might garner any interest with the press, and it definitely has. So we're looking to incorporate Jody and the goats. And some fam tours coming up. So that actually got picked up by 543 publications and was placed in that many places. So the goats seem to be a hit in Carson City. And also, as mentioned before, the Colo 8 interview that I did about the new Kit Carson Trail audio tour definitely garnered some press locally and drove people into the visitor center to inquire more about it. For the August PR report, we did a lot of prep for our PR boxes and our activations, which I'll go into here in a second. We had 2 FAMs that came into town. We placed 5 stories. And a huge part of August's earned media coverage came from Koo Stevens' Remembrance Run at Stewart, his second one that he did. He also landed the front cover of Adventure Sports Magazine, if you did not see that. And so this is a publication that we actually advertised in. And we'll continue to advertise and to promote more of our outdoor recreation and our outdoor events like Pay Dirt. We also had a national story about the Great Western Steam Up in Rail Fans and Railroad Magazine. We also
Can I-
just got,
Can
go
I
ahead.
just add something, Lydia?
Mhm.
Travel Nevada sent somebody to Stewart today from Daily Beast, and he spent about an hour out there talking to Stacy Montooth, the
Great.
director of the Indian Commission. So he said he's going to be coming up with that story very soon. So
I'm happy to hear that. I knew he was in town, and we were happy. You were a planned stop on the trip for them, absolutely. But I think we got lucky too, and lucky with the smoke, I don't think isn't exactly a great way to put it, but we were pivoting to more indoor activities. And so he really got to spend the quality time at Stewart that he definitely needed to have. So I'm happy to hear that. Thanks for sharing, Bobby. Another large story that we got picked up in was from Photos Travel. This actually launched in September, so we'll have the numbers for how far this reached next month. But we were listed in the 12 most hauntingly beautiful cities in the United States. And they listed quite a few of our major fall events. So hats off to Nicole for really nurturing this lead for a long time and making it come to fruition. So earlier I talked about our PR boxes and our PR kits. And so we're dubbing these actually road trip kits to make them a little bit more fun. And so Nicole will actually have these kits shipped to 50 different media leads that she has in her arsenal, just to help bring awareness about Carson City and garner potential stories. So the boxes, which will include the viewfinder, which you saw at a previous meeting, have an enamel mug, our interactive promotional piece, which is called the flapper, which is what I passed around to you before. You can't seem to stop playing with it. So this is what ours will look like on all sides. This is a piece that Stu will be taking with him to all of his shows. It's something I'll use for media. We left room for him to write notes, to staple business cards. We really want this to be a really unique piece, and really taking some of those print funds that we have for collateral and putting them into pieces that we feel like will really make us stand out instead of just thrown in the trash. Some other things in the kit will be custom stickers that we've made custom postcards, and then also the media invite, which you can see here, which basically gives you the highlight reel of Carson City, why they should visit, or potential story ideas. So all of those will get shipped. We're going to have some in-house as well that we'll be giving to maybe influencers that come in or media that come to town that didn't get the kit that happened, after we send out the initial run. So any questions on those? So all of them are obviously a little nostalgic. Obviously, it's supposed to look like kind of a vintage lunchbox, and stay on theme with our campaign. So next up, we're going to hopefully stay in that nostalgic vein at our first PR activation. So I'd like for you to imagine that you're at a country music concert up at Harvey's with 6,000 other people. You're on your way to grab a beer or a snack of your choice, and you're approached by the one and only Madam Curry, dressed in full costume, and she ushers you to a booth with a beautiful backdrop of scenery of Carson City. But you also see a few of your favorite toys from your childhood that seem to fit right in with the booth in Carson City. And they tie into our attractions. So on top of all of that, there's a Tap Snap booth, which will take your picture to capture the fun moment of you reminiscing, yet also reminding you to visit Carson City soon. That picture is then emailed to you, it's texted to you, and also printed for you in the moment. So you laugh and you leave with a smile, remembering to have to check out Visit Carson City very soon. So couple that with some live social media posting and plenty of press write-ups post-event. We hope to really make a splash in the press with this activation. So we had a couple other ideas on the table for our first activation, but given this is a country concert, we really thought that this would be really engaged with. I think we all smiled and remembered some of those things from our childhood when we saw the pitch. And so we are hoping that the 6,000 people that usually attend these concerts will have a really captive audience that usually draws from all of our major DMAs. So with the Tap Snap booth, we'll be able to capture emails and phone numbers that we'll be able to use and email later. So any questions on the PR activation?
Need any help staffing?
Oh, man. Maybe. So Mary Bennett, is confirmed to help us as far as of now. And Bailey, her daughter, will be helping too. So I'll have a couple people in costume, plus people from our team and KPS3's team. So we'll be getting photos of what's happening and also just talking with a lot of people and just garnering some really fun awareness of Carson City. So we're really excited for this and excited to report back. So this is actually going to happen on September 23rd, so very soon.
Are you here, Stacy, on the 23rd? Oh,
Sorry, I'll be flying back from Vegas.
the disappointment on Lydia's face. I thought you were volunteering to be up there. Shoot.
Yeah, well, I'll have to put my chaps and cowboy boots aside for another day.
Yeah. So we think this will be really fun. We're excited to actually, capture people's information there as well and be able to follow up with them later and do a custom email campaign to them too. So just something that's, I think, will be really engaging, which is really what we wanted.
So are we paying for this? Are we having to pay for this?
Yes, but the booth is only $500.
Because I don't know why we wouldn't do this at every single concert up there. I mean, this seems like a ridiculously brilliant idea and simple and all of those things. I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't do it for every concert.
We hope to do more and definitely see how this goes and continue to budget for this. Now that we'll have a booth that's built, obviously building the booth and all of the stuff that comes along with it is going to be the most costly part of this, including some of the time that we'll have with like KPS3 coming and that. But I think it's something that we can continue to pull off internally now that we have all the structure built.
It seems like a waste to have a booth that.
Oh, we hope to do more.
they don't
And
leave
Dave, you
us.
can, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So Stacy, there's a lot of front end build cost, right, and time in the development of the concept. Not every concert is always a country concert, right? So we might have to kind of think.
No,
moving.
I mean, I think you gear it towards, I mean, look, this time around, someone else was up there a couple of weeks ago, I don't remember who it was, but if it was rock, it would tie into the thing at the Brewery Arts Center. So, I mean, there seems like there's always something we could tie to. And, people at a concert like this are looking for fun things to do. So to pop
Yes.
into one of these booths with 3 or 4 of their friends, tag some friends. It's all free. It's all, I mean,
It doesn't cost them
it's
anything.
brilliant.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there should be no
chance-
reason we wouldn't do it at every,
How
at every
many
concert.
of, they have, what, 20 events during the summer?
I don't think it's that many, but,
I think it's close.
I don't think
There.
you're far
June,
off.
July, August, and
September.
September, so maybe
Growth.
16-ish,
okay.
Mhm.
perhaps,
But it-
16 different acts.
Gives us a chance to put Carson City in front of 6,000 people.
but that's
15
potentially
times.
around and those are worldwide.
They're
people. I
global.
mean, especially
Mhm.
during the weekend that you've got the
Celebrity
the celebrity golf tournament.
Right.
Whoever appears that weekend, because people come from all over the world for that.
I think It's a great idea.
Yeah, it really is.
Capacity is actually 9,000, depending, right, Lydia, I think if I'm not mistaken, depending
I think
on
it's
which
8.
acts, or 8,000 or 9,000,
Yeah.
So we're just conservatively saying 6,000, for right now. But yeah, I think they can sell 8,000 or 9,000 tickets.
And I think a booth that isn't selling something that isn't going to cost people money
Yeah,
will attract people.
yeah.
So anyway,
Agreed.
great idea and love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Kudos to KPS3 for the roundup of this idea. We're really excited about it. So more to come after that. Right after the next meeting, I'll have some updates for you on that. All right, so more into some of the numbers. We did 2 co-ops this year so far. So hotel beds began at the beginning of August. So what you're seeing now is only 1 month of information. Now, hotel beds is very different from Expedia because they work with over 35,000 travel distributors and over 200,000 travel agents. So this is purely B2B, and they're actually the world's largest B2B travel distributor. So we really wanted to do this to segment into a different market to really help more on that distributor side instead of direct to consumer. Just getting more awareness about Carson City with these people who are planning international trips and domestic trips. So this is the first time we've ever done anything with them. We saw this co-op opportunity that came out of Go West actually earlier this year, and we just saw it as a great opportunity to start building those connections and reach a wider audience. One of the selling parts of this was, points of this was 40% of their bookings are at least 6 days, and their customers typically spend 2 times more in a destination. So just some interesting facts about them and why we chose to go this route. So this is a $7,500 campaign total, in which half was grant funded. Any questions on that? For our Expedia campaign, we invested a little bit more than we normally did in this campaign than we have some of the others, but we're very happy with how the room nights turned out with this. These co-op campaigns continue to just really drive room nights for us, and we're continuing this into the fall. We also got a grant for one that's coming up that will run through December. But for this one, we garnered over 2,000 room nights and total gross bookings of over 1.3 million. This ran from April until the very end of June. And so we just got these numbers back about a month ago. So I'm just able to present them to you now. So the Bandwango Pass, so we're continuing with Bandwango for this year. We're continuing to host the Hungry Hikers and Bikers Pass, and we also created a new one called the Carson City Triathlon Pass, where you can drink, dine, and dip your way to the fictional podium of your choice. So what that means is a while back, Travel Nevada actually coined that the Hot Springs, Shoe Tree Brewing Company, and Sassafras was the Carson City quote-unquote triathlon. So if you go to all 3 of those places in one day, you've completed the triathlon and you are a Carson City champion. So what we did was we turned this into a free pass where you could download it. You check in at each location with a PIN code that we provided with a plaque at each location. And if you go to all 3 in one day, we'll send you a t-shirt. So that's what these look like. Say, I completed the Carson City Triathlon. It's got Drink, Dine, Dip on the back, and then all of the logos of the participating establishments on the back. So we might change up the design if we continue to do this next year, but so far it's garnered just kind of a heartwarming response. People have been really excited about it. They laugh about it. Many say, that's a triathlon I can do, and happily participate. So we just launched this realistically about a month ago. We've had about 27 people download the app. We've had, I think, at least 10 come in and claim their t-shirts. So right now we're having them pick them up at the visitor center. Maybe in the future we'll be able to send them to people who participate maybe on the Sunday, but it's just been a fun thing to participate in that has gotten a little bit of buzz. Thank you. Thank you. That is Shelby and Colin. So she's the one who writes our local blogs for us. And she is always down for a fun photo shoot. So we are grateful to them because she also wrote an incredible blog about the experience. And she's really been a key factor for us in getting a local's perspective about Carson City and getting some of the things and really highlighting some of the things that make Carson City special. And having that community aspect. So they're really fun. And we're lucky to have them as partners. So thanks to them. All right. So at the end of June, we also had our influencer fam. We hosted 3 influencers. So it was a little bit different this year. We went on a little bit of a smaller fam, but we went with some bigger reach with a couple of them. So from what you see here is a roundup of all of their posts, engagement, and reach. So overall, I'm really pleased. Sarah Dandashi she provided immense value with her connections also in media, in addition to her 147,000 followers. So that's partly where a large portion of our budget kind of went to, was towards Sarah. But I think it was absolutely worthwhile because she's also very tied into the PR world. So she actually emailed me yesterday that she did a segment in Louisville, Kentucky. So she also, her handle is Ask a Concierge. So she's very tapped. She used to be a hotel concierge at the Four Seasons and luxury hotels. And so she has a lot of value in that hotel world. So she does a lot of media about, what happened through COVID, how people are recovering. She's written a book. So she emailed me yesterday that she did a segment in Louisville, and they asked about destinations she visited this summer, and she talked up Carson City during that segment. So just another example of how, even though they're posting while they're here, a lot of the times that reach goes far beyond their visit, if we provide a great experience, which this was a very fun fam. We had a great time. Brought them to Brewfest. We hiked. We did a luxury picnic. So it was a good time. It was a really good time. A lot of things that we did in the 2020 fam, just a little bit different. So here you're going to see examples of top performing content. You can see a lot of that's from Sarah, just based off of pure just reach that she has. But some of the content and comments were pulled directly from their post. And my favorite is I never knew Carson City had so many fun things to do. We should check out the Railroad Museum next time we head to Tahoe. We were able to go by, this was kind of right before the Great Western Steam Up. And so we were able to bring them through, and they gave us a nice tour and be able to promote the Railroad Museum in addition to all the things that we did outdoors too. Any questions on that? Right. All right, we have 2 fun videos for you, and then I'm officially done, so thank you for your time. But Zach, per usual, did an incredible job creating a couple new videos for us, one being the promo video for the Outlaw Flat Track Race. So I'm hoping this will play.
It's our 6th annual Carson City's Outlaw Flat Track Motorcycle Races. Outlaw basically means you don't need a card, you don't need to be in a club to race. We have kids from 50cc during the day till older guys, 60 years old racing. So everyone in between. It's a different kind of racing than most people around here are used to. Now, a lot of action is right in front of you, and the Fuji Park facility is just amazing. And what's cool about this is a spectator can actually go in and visit a rider. You go down there and look at the machines that they're racing, because they are a little different than what you're normally used to seeing. Again, this is our 6th annual event. We pack it in there. It's just an amazing event to see live. The fans love it. The racers love it. They keep coming back. Get those tickets. Come on out to this event, and we'll see you there.
We also did a whole segment on just the flag guy. So he's called the Flag Man, and he travels all over the country just being the flag man. And he is a show in himself at that event. So that was really fun. And then we also did a 15-second cut of the new commercial, which you haven't seen yet. So just wanted to get that in front of you as well.
Let's go on a trip, the kind like we used to, with nowhere to be and everything in front of us. Because what's happening in these very moments are the good old days. Live them now in Carson City, Nevada.
So just short and sweet on that one. That continues to perform really well on our YouTube ads too. Those 15-second cuts really get a lot of 100% completion views. So we'll continue to do those shorter spots as well. Zach has a lot in the works for videos in the pipeline, including advertising for Mark Twain Days. We were brainstorming some fun things about that. In addition to helping Stu shoot some things for being able to promote things like events that we do at Stewart with fam tours. So he's just been doing a really great job. So just wanted to give him the kudos where necessary. And with that, thank you. And if you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions for Lydia? Let's try to do more in this month if we can. Holy smokes. Thank you.
Thank you for your patience.
Thanks, Lydia. Let's move on to 11F, future agenda items. Does anybody have anything they'd like to see on the October meeting?
I have a question that I think is for Todd. November is Native American Month, and I would like to propose a land acknowledgement. We kind of discussed it last year, but would that be an agenda item for the October meeting? How should I proceed with that?
Let's discuss that offline with David,
Okay,
and we can see where we go with it. Let me put it that way.
okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bobby. Anybody? Okay, let's 11G, our next meeting, October 10th, 4 p.m. right here in the same building. With that, I will turn it back over to you, Chair Jones.
Thank you, David. We'll move on to item 12, board comments, announcements, or requests for information. Anything? That moves us on to item 13. I don't see any public comments, so we'll move on to 14, and that's a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned.